take a shower first.
I said it's going to be recording.
You're gonna be recording while you're in the shower? So the way you be recording.
Man, I already hit the button.
Educating our people. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Jantima Storytime Music. So, guys, one time I had a girlfriend that I really liked, and she used to do whatever I want. Even if I didn't, flush the toilet. Can I get a toilet sound effect? Yeah, I was dusty and farting and smelling like you know what. But you know what, guys? I thought she would never leave me until one day. Can I get a dun 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 sound effect? She dumped me. Now stop the show. That was a lie. I was just making it up to prove my point.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I was, in that particular incident or story time, what we call overconfident, thinking that I had it my way. Even though that story is not true, it represents something that is true. And drum roll, please. We're talking about Kanye West. Now, Kanye West has been an anchor in hip hop music for such a long time. I mean, ever since producing like Jay-Z The Blueprint as a producer, like in the early 2000s, late 90s, Kanye West has been literally on fire. And then with the other stuff he's been doing, the investments in the Yeezy brand, but Kanye can't get out of his own way. So much so, well, you know what? Let this TikToker, Pretty Malik, explain.
After Balenciaga, Adidas has officially dropped Ye. So Balenciaga announced this a few days ago, and now Adidas is following, but they have released a statement saying that due to the offensive and anti-Semitic comments that Kanye has been making recently, they have decided to sever ties and stop production of his Yeezy line. Now, the company has been facing pressure to cut ties with Ye. They've dropped this statement saying Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect, and fairness. As I said, a lot of people have been waiting for Adidas to do this. This follows Balenciaga dropping Kanye and reports that Vogue and Anna Wintour have distanced themselves from Ye. Now, Adidas has also said that they're estimated to take a $246 million loss because of this decision this year. Wow. Update on this Kanye West story. He has now officially lost his billionaire status. Forbes has come out with the numbers, and they said, yes, after all these different companies decide to sever ties with Kanye, the net worth has drastically changed, including Gap and most recently Adidas. You can check out my previous video if you want to know more about the Adidas thing. But he was previously the net worth was previously valued at $1.3 billion. Now Forbes says it's at $400 million. I'll keep you posted if there are any other updates.
So as you see, Adidas has dropped Kanye like a bad habit. So now he's not even a billionaire anymore. And it's very interesting because, I'm not necessarily looking at what Kanye said or did, because when he said it or did it with black people, there was no real repercussion. Talking about George Floyd, there is no real repercussion. But what he said about the Jewish community is the repercussion. And even though you think you're a billionaire, you think that you can't get canceled, you can get canceled. Now, I want to talk about a documentary that I've been watching the last few days called Making Black America. It's on PBS. Watch episode 2. I don't want to play any of the content there, but it pretty much talks about the era in which blacks were underneath the Jim Crow in the South, and even in the northern parts of the United States. Even during the time of Booker T. Washington, we used to come together and bring our business communities together to do business and intentionally do things with our community. In other words, we were operating like how you see the Jews operate till this day. The only thing that was different from us is we forgot how to do that during integration. And that's when we were making strides. You see, that is what the Jewish community does. It makes sure it is insulated. And anybody who says anything against them, and we're not saying that all communities are perfect or don't have problems, because obviously there's no humans that are perfect, but they have the ability to make you pay a price. And the reason for that being is because they are intentional about respecting their people. That's all Kanye West has forgotten. You can get all the money you want, but see, Adidas is going to have somebody knocking at the door. Get rid of the guy. Balenciaga, get rid of the guy. Guess what? I'm going to get rid of you. But that's exactly how our community can be if we are intentional with doing business with our people. See, we hate our people. That's the difference. And when I look at how the Jews operate or other communities operate, I look at that they have differences. But it makes me want to go back to the times of our people back in the 1910s, the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s, and to look at our people as an economy, to be intentional, to make sure that other groups respect us, and to build value for our people, such that if you come against us, we have the ability to do what others do to us. And I don't blame them. It's called power, but you got to be intentional to get power. I see so many people talking about they agree with Kanye. I see so many people upset like he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back where? In the industry that he doesn't own? He got kicked out of his own deal. Number one, with Adidas, you had $1 billion based on them. It wasn't yours. And this is what black people gotta start doing. We gotta be intentional about respecting our people. We got to be intentional about where our people have suffered and come from, and don't let people joke with that. We got to be intentional about respecting our men and our women when we see each other in the streets, being intentional about supporting our businesses, being intentional about educating our people, because that's what the people who own our community, who own the industries that we start, that's exactly what they do. They make sure that their people never forget what they have been through. We forget. Sometimes we are even dumb enough. Listen to what I'm about to say. We are foolish enough to make fun of the people who've done great things for us. MLKs, we can talk down on them. Sometimes I used to have disagreements with Marcus Garvey. Not anymore. We would talk about our Frederick Douglasses. We would talk about our Harriet Tubmans. We would do all kind of foolish stuff like this. Yeah, we would do it. We'll get on here on YouTube and do it. Call them ugly, call them all kind of names. And then you can get away with it with your own people. Sure, you can talk that mess all day. You can say all that all day. You're going to do this. You're going to pull up on somebody. You're going to beat this person up. You're going to try it with the right people and see what happens. Won't you be apologizing? Or if you don't apologize, you're going to lose everything you got. But you can't get there without any respect for your group. And once black people start to have that same love for our people that the other groups have for their people, we might actually be someplace. We might actually not be complaining about who rules us in hip hop, how they're making our people look in music videos, because we will educate our people not to do such. We will have respect for our people not to do as such. And I'm inspired by the power moves that these folks have made against him, because we can be doing the same thing. What's stopping us in the black world? We got all the opportunities in the black world. Got the most talented groups of men and women. We have brothers and sisters all over the black world with unlimited amount of money, unlimited amount of opportunity and power. All we gotta do is just start respecting our people, and we could be up next. The question is, what's stopping us? But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. I'm out.
Sue me, I'm colorful. Doesn't mean I belong in here making potholders with the wackos. Besides, what gives you the right to judge other people anyway?
The diploma. Judging people is pretty much the main benefit.
That and the license plates with MD on them. You can park almost anywhere.
And when you think about it, isn't that exactly the point? Parking. And driving, and shopping, and eating, and working. Somewhere, somehow, they all got chewed up and spit back out. They don't taste like living anymore. Don't you see what it's like in this deranged, wearing blender of a world? Every day is an agonizing ordeal, like balancing a pot of scalding water on your head while people whip your legs and butt. Ah, you never forget your senior prom. You think I'm sick? Well, the only disease I've got is modern life. A schnut-busting gauntlet of inefficiency and misery that's one long parade of letdowns, put-downs, trickle-downs, shutouts, freeze-outs, sellouts, numbnuts, nick-and-puts, and nimrods. All making every day as much fun as waxing a flaming Pontiac with your tongue. Or even if you do luck into the possibility of some fleeting pleasure, like, say, if some nymphomaniac telephone operators with the muscle control of Romanian mat slappers agree to a little strip air hockey, it'll be over before it starts, because some vowel-lacking, feta-reeking cab jockey slams his checker up your hatchback, and the cab is owned by some pinata spanker from a Santeria cult in Wacalpa who starts shaking chicken bones at you and gives you a boil on your neck so big, all it needs is Michael Jordan's autograph to make it complete. And even with all this, I still drag my sorry butt off the ceiling every morning and stick my face in the reaping machine for one more day, knowing when it's time to flash the cosmic card key at those pearly gates, I won't be in the coffin anyway, because some underhanded undertaker sold my heart, pancreas, and other assorted good and plenty to that same Santeria cult. So does anybody really wonder why anybody is hanging on to sanity by the atoms on the tips of their fingernails while life dirty dances on their digits? And is it really any wonder that I seem deranged? But that's probably nothing you haven't heard 100 times before.
Kanye West, is he actually right about some of the things that he's saying? Once we move past all of the hurt and historic anger that pulls up memories of the Holocaust, we want to take a look at the things he's actually saying, and does he even have a point here, moving past the emotional anger? And I think this is something that Kanye West actually suggested we do as well. We kind of forget about history and take a look just at the engineering, the logical, rational side of all of this. Because for all of the emotional outrage that he causes when he says the words like the Jewish media, I mean, the media is kind of controlled by a lot of Jewish people out here. We can actually see here who controls your mind. This was a chart back in 2013. All of these red is Jewish people, right? So they own like Universal Studios, ABC News, CBS, CNN, Columbia Pictures, DreamWorks, Facebook, Google, also run by Jewish people, Yahoo, Marvel, Pixar, the New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks, Comcast, the New York Times, Comedy Central, Wall Street Journal. I mean, admittedly, a lot of these large media organizations and tech companies that are able to shape global narratives are run by Jewish people. So does Kanye West have a point here? And to me, it's kind of like saying there's a lot of white male power in executive management positions in corporate companies, and nobody gets mad about that. But when Kanye West says there's a lot of people of Jewish religion in these media companies and tech companies, then everybody gets upset all of a sudden. And I think you have to remember that someone like Kanye West, who got to the level of success that he's at on the global scale, does not live in the same kind of politically correct, naive, bubble-wrapped world that we live in, but he's in this cold, hard, realist world, and he must see things and call things out for as they are. And so it's not entirely surprising to me that someone of his street smarts and instincts has also noticed that a large number of these media and tech organizations do seem to be run by people of the same religious faith. And what does that really mean? Maybe he's just kind of calling that out and saying, what is this? Is there potentially chance for, say, collusion in this space? So I wanted to give you my perspective on this as just a normal, uneducated tech bro on this with a passing interest in Jewish religion. And it is typically that I feel I can't trust any religious person, basically, because they have an ulterior motive. So people will act in totally bizarre, unpredictable ways to me because they have some random doctrine that they've been brainwashed into thinking, right? Like some people are going to just randomly go sacrifice themselves for some cause. And that's totally bizarre to me because it's not a logical thing, but they're acting for their faith or religion. And so funny enough, if it were up to me, I would actually say that no person in a position of power should be religious. They should renounce their faith because now they are beholden to their people, and they should be acting in a rational way, not with some ulterior backhand motive, which is to please their God. And, there could be anything written in these holy scriptures that they've been indoctrinated into believing, right? Like there's a lot of fine text in there. What if there was a piece of text that said, there's only one land that is the Holy Land, and this country that you're in isn't it? Can you trust a leader who's going to say, well, they don't believe that your land that you're living in, that they're controlling and governing, is truly the Holy Land? So then they really have no vested interest in this land, and their goal maybe is to extract value from this land and to empower their Holy Land. I mean, for someone such as myself, and generally I'm not religious, I'm going to behave in a rational, self preserving type of way. Whereas when you see religious people, you just don't know what they're going to do because there's all these random holy scriptures that they're following. And who knows, oftentimes it can even be at a conflict of interest with what is good for the public good. And so when I see large groups of religious people with power concentrated in a certain area, it does kind of concern me as well. And I wonder, do we need some more religious diversity in here as well? I know that in the modern day, people like to say, hey, why don't we just be welcoming of everything? We have freedom of gender, freedom of religion, freedom of race, just whatever, anything goes, do whatever you want. But I think it's funny that we'll also whitelist certain religions. So, for example, if all these red people in power were of Al Qaeda religion, that may be kind of concerning to people, and they would say, hey, what's going on here? Is there chance for collusion? And the other concerning theme for me here is that the Jewish religion in particular is quite exclusion or inclusion based, whereas like a Jewish person typically should marry another Jewish person, and if you're not Jewish, then you don't belong in this group and you don't have that privilege. So I have to say, for me at least, it got me wondering, do religious people view me as one of them, as part of their group, or is this more of a power grab in order to strengthen one group of people over another? And I would say it's incredibly important that it was someone like Kanye West who brought up this discussion because, as a black person, his community was, of course, prosecuted for slavery. And then you've got the Jewish people prosecuted in the Holocaust. And, both of these groups of people are kind of victims. And they kind of use that to acquire victimhood status in order to make themselves unassailable. And Kanye West moved past that, actually, and he actually began denouncing the Black Lives Matter movement. And so, if anyone's a victim here, if any group suffered, well, it was Kanye West, because the black people probably suffered as much, if not more, than the Jewish people, right? And he's still asking people to move past that history and to let it go and to just focus on building the future instead of using the past as a way to gain sympathy. And so we can see here in Wikipedia, it states that whenever Israel faces a public relations debacle, then the Jewish organizations will orchestrate this extravaganza called anti-Semitism. And the purpose is severalfold. First, it is to discredit any charges by claiming that the person is an anti-Semite. It's to turn the Jews into victims, as if the Jews are being threatened by a new Holocaust. It's a role reversal where the Jews are now the victims. So it serves as a function of discrediting the people leveling the charge. And Kanye West probably was able to see through this and understand that, with the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of people were just looting stores and they discredited anybody by using their history. And so maybe in his perspective, Jewish people are also just using their history, the Holocaust, in order to automatically make themselves the victim in any scenario. The linguist Noam Chomsky also argued here that there have long been efforts to identify anti-Semitism in an effort to exploit anti-racist sentiment for political ends. Now, the funny thing, though, is that it is actually the Jewish people, the radical Jews known as the Zionists, who are actually considered racist. And actually, in 1975, the United Nations designated Zionism as a form of racism and racial discrimination and banned them. However, it was as recent as 1991 when Israel joined the United Nations that they forced the UN to repeal this ban and say, hey, Zionism should be okay. But there's been a lot of criticism of Zionism throughout history up to present day, where they note that Zionism is replete with manifestations of deep hostility and contempt towards the indigenous populations, and Zionism typically views Palestine as the Holy Land. So when they go out to these other countries, they typically view those as the indigenous groups of people. And so digging into history a little bit here, some have said that Zionism is more of a colonialist movement where they seek to conquer other lands and then to strengthen their Holy Land, Palestine. And so there's also this terrifying ideal in Zionism known as assimilation of Jews into the modern world, where the ideal is to abandon traditional views and opinions in an attempt at modernization and assimilation into the modern world, and therefore to integrate with other societies. So it's a cultural synthesis without necessarily losing their identity as a people by perhaps enforcing that they only marry within their own religious group of people. Now, during my travels, one time I was able to actually visit the Holocaust Museum and really sympathize with what was happening there with the Jewish people. This was over in Poland, but I also did see this pamphlet there, this book known as the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and this book is dangerous material. A lot of people don't like you taking a look at this book because this was the propaganda material that caused a lot of the anti-Semitism, that caused much of the Holocaust, that fueled a lot of the hatred against Jewish people in Nazi Germany that was used by Adolf Hitler. But I love conspiracy theories. So to give a little context, this text described how Jews were trying to assimilate as potential infiltrators to take over society in this international conspiracy network, and how there was going to be this elaborate plan where Jews would be kings of the world in 100 years. Now, the disconcerting thing about this is there is this World Zionist Organization, which is this mysterious group of people, and they've got like hundreds of thousands of people spread across various countries, and they're this strange radical religious organization, and they were banned in the Soviet Union, but I believe they do continue to exist today. I don't know what they do. Maybe they should just open up some transparency and live stream their meetings online so we know what they're up to. But luckily for us, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion book was classified as a fake. Right? It was just fake propaganda. It was plagiarized from various sources, and it was just made up, totally fake stuff. So the idea that a group of religious people are trying to take over society and become the kings of the world is totally false. But to better understand anti-Semitism in modern days, we can see here, even Henry Ford here, he had the distrust of Jewish people. He said that the only statement he cares to make is that even though the protocols may be fake, they totally fit what is going on. They have fitted the world situation up to this time. Now, this was such a dangerous statement, he later had to issue a retraction and an apology disclaiming personal responsibility, so he was basically cancelled. And an interesting note, he was also an admirer of Nazi Germany, so if you drive Ford cars, that's a fun fact for you. But anyways, I think Henry Ford had this sentiment because the protocols stated that we shall surround our government with a whole world of economists, bankers, and millionaires because in substance everything will be settled on the basis of figures. So, I mean, it's probably just a coincidence, quite frankly, that a lot of the economists, bankers, and millionaires and the media tech organizations are controlled by Jewish people, just so happenly, but maybe it's creating some paranoia here as well, creating some of the anti-Semitism in the world. Personally, I thought it was interesting to note here that also Mahatma Gandhi was also cancelled on his stance on Zionism, where initially he was stating that he expressed sympathy for the Jewish aspirations to reclaim their land of Palestine, noting that, well, it's wrong and inhuman to impose the Jews on the Arabs. Surely it would be a crime against humanity to reduce the proud Arabs so that Palestine can be restored to the Jews partly or wholly as their national home. But later, similar to Henry Ford, he had to retract his statements, nuancing his views to say he has refrained practically from saying anything in public regarding the Jew-Arab controversy. So personally, I just find it surprising that even half a century ago, people were being cancelled. We had the likes of Henry Ford and Gandhi being silenced, and that silencing has continued to today with Kanye West as well being deplatformed from various social media companies. And I thought it was interesting to see what Hitler had to say about the protocols in Mein Kampf. And this is just for historical context, not any support, but he said that the protocols are based on a forgery. And so he knew that, kind of a similar position to Henry Ford, but he noted that the important thing is with positively terrifying certainty, they reveal the nature and activity of the Jewish people and expose their inner context as well as their ultimate final aims, that being to take over society, which we have proven to be false today. And so I found the subject to just be incredibly nuanced with deep historical context in it. And I think that's one reason that Kanye says, let's just forget the history. Let's just move on past this. Because there's so much nuance to this. It's not simply like, hey, why don't we just have any gender, any race, any color, any religion, skin color, whatever, doesn't matter. This one, there's so much context in that. And actually, I was personally surprised one time, one of my close friends who will not be named came to me and said that Jewish people are parasites. And I was totally surprised to hear this. I was like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. What do you mean they're parasites? And I just said, yeah, you're crazy about this. But it turns out that there's an entire Wikipedia articles about the Jewish parasite. There's actually historical terms for this. So this is another complete rabbit hole throughout history. There have been a lot of people who have discussed this. I don't know if it bears going through, but it kind of makes me wonder, why do people call themselves Jew? It kind of creates this group of people. And to me, it's kind of like, if I were to call myself a crusader, as in the Crusades, where 2 million people died in this war, and if you saw me and I came and said, I'm a crusader, what does that mean? What do I believe? Am I radical? You don't know what that means. Why can't I just say I'm a human being, I'm a person, and then we all know I'm going to be rational and acting in self-interest. But similarly, if I came and said, hey, remember the Axis versus the Allies in World War II? Well, I'm an ally. Why do you have to bring that up? Why do you have to bring up this personal designation? Is some type of holy war still going on in your head? Is there some ulterior motive? Or can we all just say that we're modern people now? And I found this article even as recent as 2018, Israel, which is the land that the Holocaust survivors were kind of put into, that's basically Palestine. They proclaimed themselves as a Jewish nation state. And then the local Arabs there were very mad about this because, as I understand it, they were originally there. And so it just boggles me as, say, an unreligious person that in other people's minds, there's actually this holy war going on where they're striving to claim power as this group of people in order to claim this religious land, Palestine. And that even today, in this modern digital era, you still see some people with religious fanaticism waging this holy war to claim the Holy Land. So you've even got billionaires out here like George Soros, who happens to be a Jewish person, and maybe he's just a great guy, but it also raises some questions. What if he was a religious fanatic and he was using his wealth and status in order to wage holy war, right? Like, he's probably not. We can hope he's not, but there may be some people out there who are. And maybe we need to ask some of these questions. What if there were some conspiracy theory going on? There's probably not. But it also bears remembering that history is written by the victor, and in our version of history, the Jewish people won, actually, right? Hitler and Nazi Germany were defeated, and the Protocols of the Zion of the Elders was classified as false propaganda. However, I've also found conspiracy theories online that state that the protocols were actually true. Now, it doesn't really matter to me whether they're true or false, but it matters to me that our system is robust enough to guard against any type of collusion possible, and we should be open to discuss that and call these out without having to necessarily go back to use history to claim victimhood status to make ourselves unassailable. And personally, I find it interesting to consider the ramifications and the legacy of essentially the Jewish people ultimately winning World War II with the Allies and Hitler's downfall, in which a lot of, say, Jewish values have permeated into the world. Like, for example, social justice is actually a construct of Jews. And so Hitler opposed the Jews for the values they brought into the world. Social justice, wokeism basically, that we see today, which has been permeating across tech and media, and this compassionate assistance to the weak stood in the way that Hitler perceived as the natural order in which the powerful exercise unrestrained power. In his view, such restraint on the exercise of power would inevitably lead to the weakening, even the defeat of the master race. So, quite interestingly, if Hitler had won World War II, maybe we would not have such a woke society based on social justice, but it would be about this master race, about power. And even for today's conflict between Ukraine and Russia, is it just a coincidence that Russia just so happens to be the anti-Jewish group of people, the same with Arabs? And so the West has aligned towards Jewish values. Has this been caused by, say, propaganda in the media? We don't really know. So it kind of raises the question, how would our values be different if we did not win World War II and side with the Jewish people, in which their values of, say, social justice permeate more into the West, right? And so we kind of see Kanye West talking about abortion a lot today. And he's noting how so many of the Black community, like 50% or so, are dying from abortion. And so, in a way, it may be that this modern day value of saying that abortion is okay may be a legacy and remnant of Jewish values having permeated through the West as a result of us winning World War II. I mean, we don't really know. Like, this is just conspiracy theory. I don't know. Okay. But what's important is, let's imagine that all of these conspiracy theories, which I've brought up, happen to be true. Like, let's say there's some Illuminati crazy conspiracy theory to just take over the world. And it just may be one day that, hey, maybe Al Qaeda is going to come in and infiltrate society and through capitalism take over all of our media and tech businesses and start brainwashing our societies. And there may merit a discussion to have some more religious diversity and thought in our media and tech organizations. Okay? You know what's funny? I even saw this article. I can't find it anymore. Someone can reference it maybe. But it noted how it was this group of fanatical Jewish people who had massive disdain for the rest of the other Jewish people who actually caused the Holocaust. Because in a way, the result of the Holocaust was that the Jewish people did get Israel and reclaim their holy land, Palestine. And so the small group of people were basically responsible for creating these world wars. And who knows, maybe there's also the small group of people with self-interest who are propagating the Ukraine-Russia war. And to me, the important part is that we should be able to question some of these narratives without people suddenly getting hurt and emotional about some historical victimhood status. So I think Kanye West has no hate in his heart. This is obvious in his interviews, but when he calls people out by a group of classification that they self-identify with, then they only feel hurt because they identify as that group of people. In a sense, you'll feel hurt the more strongly you self-identify with a group of people. And Kanye was saying that, hey, everybody's Jewish. He's Jewish too. Everybody's African. Everybody's the same. We're all the same. We're just people. And so, for example, if you came to me and said Asians are dumb, I would just say, okay, I'm just not going to so strongly identify with this term and just be a person, a people. If you came and told me engineers are nerdy, I would just say, I don't really classify myself really as an engineer, something that I kind of do on the side here and there, but I'm a person, I'm a world citizen. And so then I wouldn't take offense. So I hope you enjoyed the discussion. And to be clear, I'm not an anti-Semite. In fact, I once dated a Jewish person and I was dumped after the first date. But, I did my part there. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Let me know your thoughts on Kanye West. See you in the comments below. And if you liked the video, give a like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.
Let's discuss my payment.
That time is past. No 5,000 for you.
The price is 50.
How about your payment is you get to leave?
Not enough.
Oh, you think you can negotiate with me? I say the word, my nephews go to a certain motel, pay a visit to your daughter-in-law and your little granddaughter. What do you think happens then? Consider your position carefully.
I got my money. Or neither of us walk out of here.
You willing to die for this?
Maybe I need the 50,000 more than you do.
Profit, muscle. This industry is a monster. Is akin to killing him. Do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out, and it wasn't good money, and it wasn't good circumstances, but what else am I gonna do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table, and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it?
That is exactly what Kanye is talking about, them trying to control us.
And the bag of money was Iceberg's money in the first place. What was I talking about? What was I trying to tell you? Last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I call Lauren Michaels and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do Saturday Night Live on election night. And the day I made that phone call, the day I committed to it, it gets announced that Netflix is streaming Chappelle's show. Not just Netflix, HBO Max is streaming it too. Let me tell you another story about HBO. No, hear me out. Did you know, before Chappelle's show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. I told them what I wanted to do. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, is they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? I found out that these people were streaming my work, and they never had to ask me, or they never had to tell me. Perfectly legal because I signed the contract. But is that right? I didn't think so either. That's why I like working for Netflix. I like working for Netflix because when all those bad things happened to me, that company didn't even exist. And when I found out they were streaming Chappelle's show, I was furious. How could they not know? So you know what I did? I called them and I told them that this makes me feel bad. And do you want to know what they did? They agreed that they would take it off their platform just so I could feel better. That's why I with Netflix, because they paid me my money, they do what they say they're gonna do, and they went above and beyond what you could expect from a businessman. They did something just because they thought that I might think that they were wrong. And I do. I think if you are streaming that show, you're fencing stolen goods. They stole that from me. They just took it. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, f them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer.
The industry owns Chappelle's name. Me, Prophet Muscle, gonna change the world. Instead of nigga, we gonna use the word kinga. We all descended from righteous kings and not slaves. I created that word kinga.
My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle's show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe. It's in the contract. You're not supposed to do this in my business. I'm up here doing something that nobody else in this business has the balls to do. I'm telling you something that you need to know. I'm trying to explain to you what you're seeing. You don't understand what you're seeing. I am publicly flogging a network. And I know that this network, they watching me and they saying, why are you doing this so publicly? Doesn't feel good to be flogged publicly. Oh, believe me, I know. I know exactly how that feels. When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore. They said I smoked crack. That's impossible. I was a devout Muslim. I didn't smoke or drink. But I do now, bitch, because you ruined my life. Now it's their turn. This is their first nigga lesson, and I'm honored to give it to them. They're gonna pay me for this show. I called my agent. I said, is there anything I can do about this show? And he said, no. Well, you too then. If you want something done right, I guess you got to do it yourself. So I'm not going to the agents. I'm coming to my real boss. I'm coming to you. I'm begging you. If you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you. Please don't watch that show. I'm not asking to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle's show. Do not watch it unless they pay me. If you're a shareholder at Viacom, then I'm talking to you. Because all that that they do to us, well, they do everything for their shareholders. That's what they told me. So if you're a shareholder in that company, tell them it's wrong. And if you don't believe that it's wrong, then f you too. You should know what's in the hot dogs you eat. Now, there's probably a bunch of people at Comedy Central and Viacom and all these places that have no idea what I'm talking about. They've all either quit or been fired or got Me Too'd or something. Them niggas is gone. And there's a whole bunch of new young people there, and they're probably looking like, what is he talking about? They may not actually know what the f happened to me. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Go downstairs to your accounting department, open the books, see what that show made, and look at what you paid me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to pay me. I am inviting you to come with me and work with me. And let's fight against that terrible, terrible feeling that you made me feel together. We can fight together and work this thing with Chappelle's show out. Or I can just take it. Thank you.
Love is real.
What we gonna do then? That was good right there. That was it.
The dude Kanye's hugging, he's the dude who's always introducing me, Prophet Musk, in my intros. Yeah, you see him right there with the glass. That's Kanye's friend. So you know I'm connected with them people. Everybody hashtag Kinga in my comment section. If you like Kanye or not, you have to respect him for disclosing the truth of what's going on behind the scene. Cause most artists at his level would never do that. He's risking his life and career to disperse the message.
Roger, tell these subscribe to the Prophet channel.
Oh, they got you. Long as they have their daddy, you.
Watch where you walking, nigga. Hey, what you say, nigga?
Watch closely. You're about to experience a nigga moment. Webster defines the nigga moment as a moment when ignorance overwhelms the mind of an otherwise logical Negro male.
What did you say, bitch, nigga? Hey, squeeze it, nigga.
Causing him to act in an illogical, self-destructive manner, i.e., like a nigga. Nigga moments are unpredictable.
Hey, wait, man, wait. This is stupid. Hey, you right, dawg. Look, let's put the guns away and go on about our business. Freeze!
But they all end up bad. If they had their own category, nigga moments would be the third leading killer of black men behind pork chops and FEMA. It's a fact. Now let's see how a nigga moment affects a white man.
Frick. Watch where you walking, bitch.
What did you... Wait a minute. I'm white.
Where you going? Don't you ignore me. This is a perfectly good moment to throw your life away.
profit muscle. Understand this before you cancel it like Kanye. He already a billionaire. He was already considered the richest black person in America, right? This put all of that on the line for what he trying to do. When Pac died, I started kind of listening to Jay-Z, right? One of my favorite albums, if not my favorite, you know what I'm saying? Kanye West was the producer behind Blueprint. So to me as a Jay-Z fan, I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up. Keep making his beats, keep making blueprints. Nigga, like, let Jay-Z do this and shut the fuck up. So, yeah. Yeah, so I was like, shut the fuck up, make beats. Shut the fuck up, make beats. This motherfucker came out and basically damn near passed up Jay-Z with a lot of awards and sales and shit. I don't really the numbers or nothing like that. But he, right? Exactly. So think about that.
Beyonce keep J name, huh?
Beyonce do keep J name, but he make the beats too.
He said, y'all call Jay a genius, but he said, I'm 100%. I made the beats and rapped on the song.
You make the beats and you rap on the song, and
Everybody came with the idea.
you gotta come with the idea. Like, that's a lot, kid. Like, that's a lot. You gotta salute people who can do that, be that creative. I didn't believe in Kanye at first. I didn't think he was gonna be better than Jay-Z or no shit. He shut me up. I had to shut the up. I seen what he did after I was saying shut the up also. So I shut the up. Then he went to the fashion shit. He got to doing the fashion shit. And you know what's crazy though? Like, feelings take you out of the game on a lot of shit, man. Like, feelings. Like, and, you know, you feelings motherfuckers, like, boy, y'all, if you put feelings before business, like, I feel sorry for you because you're gonna be in trouble. I challenge all you opinionated motherfuckers, you feelings motherfuckers, to just one time stop reacting off of clickbait and understand the motherfucker. Look how many times you've seen on your timeline, Kanye West loses Adidas. Kanye West do this. They've been flooding that shit to make him crash, like to say he canceled, and it's his own people a lot in the comments celebrating the demise of a motherfucker made $1 billion from nothing. Like, what type of heart you have, my? Yeah, he said some dumb ass. How much dumb ass you say and got away with it? How much dumb ass you say? I say dumb all the time and get away with it.
Catch me with my commentary at the end on profit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody say dumb ass. Like, what the f***, you don't cancel them up over saying no dumb ass. You understand, okay, he said some dumb ass. But at the end of the day, if this our key person who already made it past and willing to risk everything that he has to get out of this, being under, letting culture vultures be on top, if he do it, then we can do it, man. If he do it, we can do it. So bigger than your feelings or whatever, you know, but you say that's crazy. My personal opinion on this, and this is my personal opinion, I don't know, you know, what the truth is. I'm a fan. I don't know this. I'm not on the phone with Ye or working with this for real. Like, I don't know what the they're doing. But this is my personal opinion and personal perspective on all this going on, right? So I believe this was the process. Me personally, I believe this is what happened. I believe he said this about his baby mama, like, you know, they taking my kids, and nobody was saying nothing. Nobody was like, hey, that's wrong, Kim, you should give him his child or whatever, right? So he feels like, just like I feel. When I was on Gut Bank broke, and you ain't had to say, when I ain't have my kids and I was with, nobody wanted to speak up for me now, why when I wear a White Lives Matter shirt, it matter? You shouldn't give a fuck about me. If you don't give a fuck about me getting my kids back, don't give a fuck about me wearing this shirt. You know what I'm saying? I believe that was his mind frame as a, you know, hyper man, whatever the fuck he is, whatever wrong with it. I don't know what's wrong with him. You know, I believe that was his point on that type of shit. All right? So after that, you can say White Lives Matter. You can say George Floyd died from fentanyl. You can say retarded. He was saying all kind of crazy, I believe, just to make Adidas drop him. And then he said what? He said the Jewish past. And after he said the Jewish, that's when they dropped him. And if you look at anybody who posting this, it does not say nothing about none of the crazy he said. Only says anti-Septimism comments, which lets you know that whatever company saying that, the Foot Locker, Jewish people own us. And we making it clear to Jewish people that we not with Kanye West so they don't cut us off. Everybody who's saying that has a Jewish boss and making it clear that, hey man, I know y'all own me, please don't cut off my checks. Kanye West is being a motherfucking gladiator in a business sense. And challenging the motherfuckers to drop him and challenging to do his by himself. You know, I don't know, he went crazy with the George Floyd shit, but maybe he thinking like, hey man, motherfuckers don't even, black people already cancel me. I'm already canceled. How they gonna cancel me again? Like, they been already canceled me for the MAGA hat. How they gonna cancel me again? Maybe that's his way of thinking and saying to George Floyd, like, you know, let's just see for real for me or not. Because at the end of the day, we ain't gonna be able to stop this dude. Like, this dude is a very creative person, and when it come to fashion and all this, and they talking about they gonna wear some they gonna keep making Yeezys, but take his name off of it. What the like? What are those? Like, what the? If you wear some Yeezys without the name on it and you black, you really more of a coon than whatever you think Kanye is, man. Like, what the? Like, why would we go for some? Now I understand his issue. What type of hoe is that? He's and he mad at them because, hey man, y'all making similar designs to my and trying to copy my then won't give me. That's a okay. And we ain't never Adidas, but since Run DMC, before Kanye West came over there. And I'm not Adidas after Kanye West is gone. And we shouldn't Adidas after Kanye West is gone. Kanye said some dumb ass about George Floyd. We all know that. We know the little off. To me, a who a little off becoming a billionaire is amazing to me. It's like, damn, we know this little off, but he's still able to be a billionaire. How many motherfuckers deal with mental illness and we think they just gonna be a motherfucking vegetable for the rest of their life and can't do shit? Nah, this motherfucker is a billionaire and dealing with whatever he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? To me, that amazes me. Versus me saying, he crazy, I'm canceling him, let's get rid of him. Nah, I don't think like that. Like, what the I'm like, I'm surprised. Like, damn, this nigga crazy than a motherfucker, but creative than a motherfucker and making shit happen. A whole billionaire figured it out. Why would I not? This is my point on Kanye West, and this is, I'm gonna tell y'all when I start shitting about him. So I'm gonna tell y'all why I start shitting fuck up, right? All right. So listen, man, like that's my the GOAT. You know, first Tupac. You know, Pac died. I didn't even listen to Jay-Z before Tupac. I understand that though. I did not with nobody like Pac when Pac was alive, but.
Me, Prophet Must gonna change the world. Instead of nigga, we gonna use the righteous kings, all descendant from. If you like Kanye or not, you have to respect it for disclosing the truth of what's going on behind the scenes. He's risking his life and career to disperse the message.
Roger, so tell these subscribe to the Prophet channel. Oh, they got you.
He look at us like we finna ask for something.
Why?
What? What?
So, Flanders.
Red dot.
What do you think of the house that Love built? Oh, shoot.
Oh. Now calm down, diddly 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 diddly. They did their best, shoddily diddly diddly diddly. Gotta be nice, hostility diddly diddly diddly. Ah, hell, diddly ding dong crap! Can't you morons do anything right?
Hey. Man, we meant well, and everyone here tried their best.
Well, my family and I can't live in good intentions, Marge. Oh, your family is out of control, but we can't blame you because you have good intentions. intentions.
Hey, back off, man.
Oh, okay, dude. I wouldn't want you to have a cow, man. Here's a catchphrase you better learn for your adult years. Hey, buddy, got a quarter?
I am shocked and appalled.
Mr. Flanders, with all due respect, Bart didn't do anything.
Do I hear the sound of butting in? It's gotta be little Lisa Simpson, Springfield's answer to a question no one asked. What do we have here? The long, flabby arm of the law? The last case you got to the bottom of was that case of Malamars.
Malamars, oh, that's going in the act.
Oh, yeah, the clown. The only one of you buffoons who doesn't make me laugh. And as for you, I don't know you, but I'm sure you're a jerk. Hey, I've only been here a few minutes. What's going on? You ugly, hate-filled man.
Hey, I may be ugly and hate-filled, but what was the third thing you said?
Homer, you are the worst human being I have ever met.
Hey, I got off pretty easy.
Nettie? Wait. Well, where are you going?
So, I want to say this, man. I signify. I know how to think of stuff to get up under mother skin. I'm good at it. I'm a comedian. I really be holding back on a lot of shit. My mind thinks creatively but crazily. So some stuff I say I do regret. I just want to tell people that. Everything I say, I'll be like, oh. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I ain't had to go there. So whatever the fuck I say, it's part of the show. But a lot of shit I say be 100. And I know 100 can sometimes hurt my feelings. I say that to say I'm not a bandwagoner. It's a lot of shit going on with that brother. I just want to say this. Back when he said Donald Trump is my father, that's when I knew something was wrong with that brother. Keeping it real.
That is.
I knew something was wrong with him. I was like, God damn it. So all this pile on that's going on now, I ain't really part of the pile on. Niggas be talking about what Corey Holcomb ain't got and what Corey Holcomb, he whatever. Ain't no motherfucker in this world gonna be able to say I'm a billionaire one day and then the very next day say, oh, he ain't a billionaire. Ain't no motherfucker gonna know what I got. I got my shit and I'm like a pirate. My shit is in treasure chests around the motherfucking nation. I wish I would be out here. Motherfuckers can say what I am and like that shit with them banks was so bogus. Like, even though people may feel some kind of way about Yeezy, man, the bank ain't supposed to be able to be mad at you because of what you say and come up with a moral clause to tell you to take your money and stuff it, especially Chase Bank. Chase Bank is the government. Chase Bank is the government, dog. So when Chase Bank was like, come get your money up out this bank, I was like, oh, they can do that? Don't get to thinking that you are free. You are captured. You are here because you was brought here to build this nation for free. And everywhere around the world, you still captured. The sister Brittany Griner ain't did nothing to be taken from her family for 10 years. Man, look, them people do what the they want to do to us. We need to recognize what's really going on. The pile-on game ain't what we do. When somebody down, pile on them because the media say they bad now. Man, we been knew something was wrong with that black man. Brittany Griner, I'm bringing this all in the same way to tell you, this is show you what they do to us. The sister didn't know that she shouldn't be walking through the airport with whatever she had on her and a Black Lives Matter shirt. What it is, we forget. When I'm at the airport, if somebody slapped the shit out of me on the plane, I'll be like, I don't know. I am very calm on them airplanes. First of all, I know what happens to men like me. We get put in handcuffs first before anything is even asked. If you do what you're supposed to do, you have to hold back. You are in a racist world, and they are in charge. They created the guns. We used to be cold with them motherfucking spears and shit on the Wakanda side of the game, but that vibranium ain't real. You fighting guns with sticks with points at the bottom of them. When you fighting these motherfuckers have created destruction around the world, and you can't beat them. So yes, they can say, "Fuck you, come get your money out of our bank," and you can't do nothing about it. Nope. They can say, "You're a billionaire." Oh, what did he say? He's a millionaire. Get the fuck out of here, dog. What the fuck is going on in the world? You remember when Jay-Z was sitting up there with the commissioner of the NFL talking about what are we doing? Marching? Homie, you are not represented in this world by nobody. I'm bringing all this up to make a point. Everybody who pile on, you foul. You foul. I got so many issues with that brother Kanye West, but I'm not finna pile on. He's a black man that they put out there, and the reason they put him out there because he worked for them. When he got tired of holding back, because he has said some real shit. Remember when he said George Bush don't like black people? What was the white dude who was standing next to him named? Mike Myers. That motherfucker said, "Oh."
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
This ain't Kanye's first time saying how he really feel.
Oh my God.
But they wasn't ready to get rid of him because brother Kanye will do things against us as well.
Right. He
So
ride
like
the fence
that.
too
They were
much
like,
for
let
me.
him, yeah.
Yes.
Black folks didn't cancel him. If black folks didn't cancel him when he said that they disrespected us, then why they gonna lose their money? Stop supporting.
Let me ask you something, little bro. What have black folks ever canceled? Cold-blooded.
I'll tell you. But that's what I'm saying. But they got a standard. They live by a code.
Who's they?
The opposing team.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about Caucasian people?
Yes. So
don't get in trouble now. Listen to the chorus.
Careful.
They'll tell you to come get your $12 out of
Yeah, say come get your $12 out the bank.
And we are live with